Right, so in a chessboard, there are 64 squares, and each of these squares have names. Uh, these names usually have one letter and one number. For example, this square here will be known as A1 because as you can see, the letter A is here, and all these squares are all A squares, and all these squares here are all one squares, I guess. So, for example, over here would be D4. So, what square would this be? B5? Yeah, that's correct. All right, so we're just gonna go over the pieces then. So this piece is known as a pawn. It's worth 1 point. So the pawn can go one step forward. The pawn can usually go one step forward. For example, if it was over here, it could go over here, and that's the only spot that it can go to. However, when the pawn is at its starting square, it has the choice between going two or going one. This piece is known as the knight. The knight is worth 3 points, and it can move in an L shape in any direction. For example, it can go this way, 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 and this way. This piece is known as the bishop. It is also worth 3 points. It can go diagonally in any direction, however many squares it wants to. So it can go just one square diagonally this way, or it can go all the way to the opposite corner of the board. And this piece is known as the rook. It is worth 5 points, and it can go vertically and horizontally in any direction. It is worth 5 points. And this piece is the most powerful piece in chess. It's called the queen. It can go any direction, any amount of squares. So it can go diagonally, it can go horizontally, and vertically, any amount of squares. Uh, the only the only uh the only movements that it can't do is in an L shape, like the knight. And finally, this piece is known as the king. There's no set value of points because you can't really capture the king. We'll cover that in another class. But the game usually ends with the king being checkmated. The king can go one direction, I mean one square in any direction. So the board is usually set up with the pawns being on the second file or the seventh file. It just depends on what color you are. And the corners are usually reserved for the rooks, and right next to the rooks are the knights. And then right next to the knights are the bishops, and the king is always on the e file, and the queen is always on the d file. So if you flip the board, the pawns are going to be on the seventh file if you're black. The rooks are in the corners. The knights are next to the rooks. The bishops are next to the knights, and the king is on the e file, and the queen is on the d file. This line of squares is what we call a file. We pronounce this as the d file. Okay, so let's say that we have rook over here. Say that it wants to move over here, right? So in algebraic notation, we will call this rook e7. So how would you write this? Is capital R and then e7. So let's say that we wanted the rook to go over here. What would the notation for that be? Rook h4, yeah, that's correct. So let's say that we have the rook over here, and we have the white's pawn over here. Actually, no, let's not use the pawn. Let's use like another rook, for example. So let's pretend that it's your turn and you're capturing the rook. This would be rook takes a4 or rx a4 because you were taking a piece that is on a4. So let's say that the rook was actually here instead. What would that be in algebraic notation? Yeah, rook takes e7, that would be correct. Pawns work a bit differently. We don't say pawn b7, for example, here. We just say b7. For example, if we wanted pawn to advance to b5, we just say b5. So let's say that the pawn was over here and we wanted to go one square up. What would that be in algebraic notation? F2, yeah, that would be correct. Have you played chess before? I think you already knows most of these stuff. Let's say that we have the bishop here. The bishop is just like the bishop is just denoted as capital B. And if we had like a knight here, we just say bishop takes c1 or bx c1. Uh, Queen would also just be denoted as capital Q. The knight is actually denoted as capital N because the capital K letter is reserved for the king. So let's say that we had knight to e3, that would just be n e3. But if you were a piece there and you were to take that piece, it would be nx e3. Let's say that we had a king in the middle of the board and they wanted to go here, it would be denoted as k d5. So when a pawn gets to the end of the board, it can advance to the last square, and this is what's known as a promotion. So as soon as the pawn goes to the last rank, it can promote to any kind of piece it wants except for the king. So if it wants to become a knight, it can become a knight. It can become a bishop. It can become a rook, and it can become a queen. So usually it would look like something like this. Let's say that we had a pawn over here. The way pawns are the way pawns capture is a bit different. They don't capture vertically, they actually capture diagonally. And they can only capture diagonally if it was in one direction. Let's say that there was a bishop here and the pawn were to capture that bishop. We say d takes e3 because this is the d pawn. Uh, okay. So there are three phases of the game known as the opening, the middle game, and the end game. So if we were at starting position, let's say that the opening is usually a set of book moves. Book move is a set of moves, set of the best moves that are calculated by the best players or the computer. For example, this is known as the Italian opening. And this would be the end of the opening phase because this is all you memorized. So beyond this, like let's say that the opponent plays like this, and you decide to castle. Oh, okay. And you decide to castle. That would be the start of the middle game because you haven't really prepared anything past the point of your opponent playing that. So this is what's known as this is the start of the middle game, and the end game is usually when there are a few pieces left on the board. For example, let's say that we have like a king here, and we have the pawn here, and we have the king here, and we have like a few more pieces laying around. Then this is what's known as the end game. Do you guys have any questions on what I've covered so far? No? Okay. I've basically covered everything that's supposed to be for today. You guys want to learn anything else? All right, then I guess we'll just do a bunch of puzzles then. All right, so tell me what move you guys think is best here. E takes uh E takes F6. Oh wait, no, that's oh wait, no, you're black in this puzzle. We're not white. Queen takes F2, so it'll be this move. Right. What do you guys think is the next move? Queen F1? Queen F1? Yeah, that would work. So if we play Queen F1, this is also what's known as a checkmate. Checkmate is when the king cannot escape the threat that is being presented to the king. So if the king were like over here, for example, let's say the king was over here, the king can escape to over here. So it would just simply be a check. But if we play this move and the king is here, this will be known as a checkmate because the king cannot move. All right, just message me what you think the best move is in this situation. We're also black here. Queen F1. Okay, so if we play Queen F1, the queen can take back, which wouldn't really be ideal because it's just a fair trade at that point. Uh, well, no, it's not fair trade actually. You lose a queen. You can take it back by taking it with the rook, but the king can immediately take it back. So what we want to do in this situation is we want to look for threats that we can possibly create. So yeah, we can threaten a winning queen, but as we saw before, the white pieces can just counter by taking. So a more dangerous threat can be created by checking, and the white king is forced to move here. And then after that, we have a potential checkmate. Just message me with the move. By the way, I didn't cover this, but This move here, uh, queen to f2, it will be queen f2 plus because the plus means check. I'll give you guys like 2 minutes to think of this. Queen f1. Yeah, technically the notation would be queen f1 plus because that's check. You sacrifice the queen and you checkmate. That checkmate there is known as the back rank checkmate. It's when the pawns are blocking the king's path, the king's escape path. So yeah, uh just message me with the move you guys have for this. I'll give you guys about another minute to think about it. All right. Well, it's been about a minute, so I'll just go over the answer. Usually in these early puzzles, we're looking for checkmates, and the best way to get a checkmate I see here, well, there's two possibilities for a checkmate. The first step to a checkmate is usually a check, obviously. So there's two ways to get a check here. We can either move this rook and check the king, or we can move this queen and check the king. But the only problem with moving the rook is that it's pinned. A pin is usually when you see here, if we were to move the rook, then the king is in danger, so we cannot move the rook. So our only option is the queen. All right. So what's the next move for this checkmate sequence? Queen h5. Yeah. I'll give you guys a couple more seconds to solve this. E4. So if we play E4, we're actually hanging a rook. Hanging just means losing. So the opponent can just take our rook, and that would obviously be bad for us. Rook H4. Uh, yeah, Rook H7. Yeah, that would be the checkmate here because this rook is blocking the king's path, and this king is blocking the other two paths to escape the back rank. And yeah, we just capture. Queen takes D2. Uh, this move, yeah, I guess I could see that, but there's a better move. Try and find that move. B takes, so, oh, bishop takes D2. Yeah, but that's basically the same thing as queen takes. Try and find a threat to the king, to the opponent's king. Queen takes H7 with check. Yeah, that would be the correct move. The reason that's the correct move is because this bishop defends the queen. So the king cannot take the queen because the bishop will take the king afterwards. This one is a bit of a harder one. So I'll give you guys a hint. Try and find a way so that the rook can checkmate the queen, checkmate the king, by using this file. Rook h3, rook h3. Yeah, but the that wouldn't really be a checkmate because the pawn is blocking the way. I'll give you guys like knight q6. I'm assuming you meant g6, yeah. So with my knight g6, the opponent has to capture, which leaves this file wide open for the rook to enter and checkmate the king. I'll give about another minute for the puzzle. All right. So the correct move is knight to d6. The reason for that is because then we can capture the undefended queen. When a piece moves like this, we have to think what does it attack? It clearly attacks the knight, and what does it leave behind? Before the pawn was guarding the queen. However, now that we push the pawn forward, we can no longer defend the queen. We captured the undefended queen. We'll do like two more puzzles and then we'll just get started with the arena. Uh, there's not that many people in the Zoom call, so I guess it'll just be like, I don't know, a 1v1, I guess. I'll give like another 2 minutes, 2 minutes for this puzzle. All right, so I'll give all the hints. Try and look for a check. Rook e8, yeah. Queen takes f8. All right, so if we do that move, then the queen takes, right? And then we can take back with the rook, but the king can also take back. So we wouldn't really gain anything from that. You're on the right path though. Try and find another way to capture the rook. Rook takes f8. Yeah, so if we take with the rook, the king cannot take because the queen is defending the rook. So the opposing queen must is forced to take the f8 the f8 rook, and that leaves this knight undefended. If the guy cannot, the opponent cannot choose to ignore this move because uh you have to escape check, or you have to get rid of the threats of the check, and he cannot really escape because everywhere he goes, like over here, over here, over here, over here, that's all being guarded by a certain piece. All right, I guess we'll get started with the arena. If not many people show up, I'll join, and I don't know, I guess I'll just play against you if Steven doesn't join. I don't know why this is not working right now. Okay, here we go. I'll stop the share now, since the class material is over. There's about 3 minutes left in the meeting, and we've covered everything that was in the syllabus for today. So I'll just end the meeting now. Feel free to join the arena. If not, have a good rest of your day.